Imagine a crack addict claiming to be a licensed therapist. That's how any of us would have looked at the Toronto Blue Jays before the season if they claimed they were a potential division winner. That's how their own fans would have even looked at them. I mean, there just didn't seem much to be pumped about. This is a team that finished in last place last year, had 4 good hitters in their lineup, yet 3 of those 4, Isaiah Kiner-Falefa, Spencer Horwitz, and Justin Turner, were all gone now. So only one hitter who had a productive year in 2024 remained, Vladimir Guerrero Jr. He had a great season, and even he looked to be inevitably on his way out. The talks between him and the team for a contract extension were pretty public. Vladdy made a deadline for February 18th, the first full squad workouts at spring training. So once that started, talks were done and he was just going to focus on the 2025 season without a deal. Well, that day came and went. Vladdy publicly stated that the two sides were not even close to an agreement. I mean, add that to just everything else that looked bad with this team. It was a total shit show. Look around them. Look at the competition. The Red Sox just added Alex Bregman. The Orioles were coming off another playoff season. The Yankees were just in the World Series. The Rays are always scrappy. Like, the Jays were screwed. How in any realm does this turn out good? Really quick, if you're part of the 57% of viewers not subscribed yet and enjoy the videos, consider hitting that button, as ironically the Blue Jays spent more money over the offseason than any of those teams in their division. They spent $280 million on players, but they weren't necessarily the type of signings to make you go crazy and all in on this team. In recent years, this franchise has become a meme when it comes to signing players because, well, they don't actually sign the players. They're interested in them. There's no doubt about that. They were interested in the last 2 biggest free agents, Shohei Ohtani, and gave him an offer just as good as the Dodgers did, only to get trolled. They were in on Juan Soto and were not even a finalist. It's so extreme to the point where even the players they did sign, like Jeff Hoffman, they were only able to get that deal done because the Orioles, the team that originally signed him, said no thanks and backed out after they got concerned with the health of his right shoulder. So the Blue Jays weren't even number 1 for the players they did sign. They couldn't even be the number 1 bird team for the players they signed. It was pathetic. Every free agent signing they made, whether it was Hoffman, who was almost an Oriole, Anthony Santander, who was an Oriole for 8 years, or Max Scherzer, it all just felt so forced, like fixing a sinking ship with glue and duct tape. Well, if you're planning to binge watch the MLB season after it happened, like it's a season of Love Island, spoiler alert, the Blue Jays are good, actually. In fact, better than most teams good. And so much has gone the way none of us would have ever predicted it to go with this team. To start, plot twist number 1, just when everyone was under the impression that Vladdy was headed to free agency and likely gone, Mark Shapiro, team with Jim Gaffigan, and the Blue Jays got it done. They strike a deal with Vladdy to make him a Blue Jay for life. 14 years, $500 million. And look, Vladdy was already in Toronto, so this of course doesn't really change anything in the moment, but it's still a big move that sets a standard for the team. Like, it's a statement that they're not going to let their big homegrown star be the one that got away, or whatever it was that Katy Perry said. It's important to have a face of the franchise, and because both Ohtani and Soto declined, this at the very least felt like it had to happen, and it did. Plot twist number 2, the best hitter on the Toronto Blue Jays this season is probably the last person anyone would have thought. 35-year-old George Springer. After signing with the Jays in 2021, Springer has for the most part been pretty disappointing. He was great in 2021, but didn't even play half the games because of injuries, and thankfully he has been very healthy since. He's just been in a decline each year. He had a good season in 2022, a decent season in 2023, and a bad season in 2024. I'm not a math guy, but we're trending for a really bad season in 2025, but not on George's watch. Bro, watch Benjamin Button to prepare for this season. Aging my ass. He's hitting for more power and also getting on base at a higher rate than he has in like 6 years. And you can take George Springer out of Houston, but you can't take the Yankee killing Houston energy out of George Springer. The Yankees recently went into Toronto with a 4-game lead over the Blue Jays in first place, and the Yankees up to this point had been in first for the vast majority of the season. Like, nobody had really gotten close, and the Yankees at first started showing why they were in first place. Jazz Chisholm goes deep off Max Scherzer. It's 2-0. Carlos Rodon's pitching well. Blue Jays finally scratch a run off him in the 5th, but the Yankees punch right back. Giancarlo Stanton says here's another one. 3-1 Yankees, and after a leadoff double by Davis Schneider in the 6th, out goes Rodon, in comes the Yankees bullpen, and the Jays got to work. Miles Straw hits one deep into the hole. Anthony Volpe fields it, and for some reason decides to try and one-up his World Series error. Doesn't seem that smart, but what the hell do I know? I guess I'm not the big leaguer. The ball keeps rolling away from the catcher. Second and third, nobody out. Nathan Lukes keeps the line moving 3-2. First and third, nobody out. 2 hitters later, Ernie Clement, another deep one in the hole that Volpe fields again, and Clement barely beats the throw. Volpe with the cannon. Game is tied. Out goes Leiter. In comes Jonathan Loaizaga. George Springer at the plate. He swings and hits Austin Wells' glove, which is catcher's interference, so he gets to go to first base. Vladdy says, hell yeah, smokes this thing to left to score 2. Springer is thrown out at third, almost dies in the process. Cody Bellinger went deep later in the game for a solo shot, but that was it for either side. Jeff Hoffman locks it down. Blue Jays win game 1. 3 games back of first place. And as for George Springer, who looked like me after 3 shots, ready to yak everywhere, yeah, that had 0 negative impact on the guy. Springer goes out the next day on July 1st, Canada Day, and goes 3 for 4 with 2 home runs, one of them being a grand slam, 7 RBIs on the day to beat the Yankees, which probably just gained him Canadian citizenship on the spot. That's some patriotic shit right there. Blue Jays whoop ass 12-5. 2 games back of first place. They picked up right where they left off in game 3. Single, walk. Someone tells Alejandro Kirk he can have free Krispy Kreme if he gets a hit, so he takes the second pitch he sees and lines it for a 2-run single before Addison Barger, who's been the Blue Jays' second best hitter this year behind Springer, sends the first pitch he sees to dead away center field. 5-0 Blue Jays. They were swinging away in this inning, and you can't blame them. Will Warren, the Yankees pitcher, was just practically begging them to hit him. Ernie Clement swings at the first pitch he sees. He grounds out. Will versus Will matchup. Will wins, gets his walk before Davis Schneider swings at the first pitch, and he hits a bomb of his own. Touchdown Toronto. A couple innings later, we get another Will v. Will matchup. Will wins again, double, and is driven in by Andres Jimenez. 8-0 Blue Jays. Just running away with this thing. Everything coming up Blue Jays until the Yankees said, nah, we've had enough. We're the team that you're supposed to fear and get embarrassed by, not the other way around. Hell nah. We got the big boys, not you. Giancarlo Stanton, yeah, look at him go. 3-run jack, 8-6. We're right on your ass. Oh, look at that. Another run. It's 8-7. Whoa. Oh, Davis Schneider, his second home run of the game. Oh, cute. How about the MVP, Aaron Judge? Yeah, he can do that too. Where did your lead go? Oh no, where did your lead go? The Blue Jays are watching this all happen and are like, okay, we're just gonna, okay, thanks, you just gave us the lead again. We love you, Devin Williams. Appreciate that. And while we're at it, we're gonna add another. Jeff Hoffman comes in and slams the door, and just like that, the 8-0 comeback goes to waste. 1 game back of first place. Addison Barger drove in the last run of game 3, and he drives in the first run of game 4. Trent Grisham takes Chris Bassett deep to tie the game before Springer realizes it's been way too long since he hit his last home run. 2-run shot, it's 3-1. Yankees battle back though. They rally in the 4th to tie it, only for the Jays to answer right back with 2 on a Nathan Lukes double. 5-3 now, 6-3. Addison Barger stays hot. Again, bro's been a dog this year. Yankees get 2 more in the 7th, keeping it interesting before George Springer realizes it'd be really funny if he went deep again. So he goes deep again. 2-run shot, 8-5, and comes Hoffman again. And for the 3rd time in this series, he locks down a save. The Toronto Blue Jays clean sweep the Yankees on the eve of 4th of July to tie them for first place. If that's not the most anti-American thing the Yankees can do, I don't know what is. And what have the Jays done since? Keep winning. The Angels would come to town next, and the Jays would make it fun. And this is part of what's making them such a magical team right now. They're not some juggernaut. Yes, they are overperforming just a little bit. But the most important thing is they're putting these wins on the board and just finding any way they can do it, no matter how scrappy they need to get. They walk off in 10 innings in game 1 because the Angels just got tired of trying. Said, screw it, here you go. They walk off again in game 2. Addison Barger, there goes that man again. And then another 1-run win to complete the sweep. The Jays did just finally lose their final game in Chicago against the White Sox, but after winning the first 2, that was a 10-game winning streak, and the last time they've done that, 10 years ago, which was the last time they won the division. This has been very cool to see come seemingly out of nowhere. The way I see it, baseball is better when the Blue Jays are better. A packed out Rogers Center may be one of the most hostile crowds in sports. It's incredible. Shit, if the Jays keep this up, I might even have to go there for the first time and experience it. There are moves they will have to make at the trade deadline, little things to address. For example, the bullpen. Jeff Hoffman's had a weird year. He was borderline unhittable in April, started throwing batting practice in May. His ERA that month was over 13, but went right back to being virtually unhittable in June. So good to see him back to dominating. But the bullpen is always very wishy-washy, and that goes for any team. Just that part of your team in general can be very hit or miss, and you can never have enough arms there and just in the pitching staff overall. So as good as Hoffman's been lately, as good as Brennan Little's been in just his second ever season, Yariel Rodriguez has been solid, Braden Fisher, a rookie, has showed potential. I still think one more big arm back there is necessary, and with the rotation too. The pitching hasn't been elite or anything, especially in the rotation. It's just been solid. It's been good enough. And again, this isn't necessarily a team lighting the world on fire. So many of their wins have been close games. Their run differential is 20, meaning they've outscored, like if you put all their scores together, they're plus 20. To give that more context and compare it to other teams, the Tigers' run differential is 108 and the Cubs is 117. Even the Yankees in their own division, who they've overtaken recently, 105 is their run differential compared to the Blue Jays' 20. So they're not blowing that many teams out of the water. But wins are wins, and whether they are blowing a ton of teams out or gutting these wins out, they should definitely take advantage of this and go for it. The Toronto Blue Jays all of a sudden have become baseball's most magical team, and just like that, the state of this franchise doesn't look so bad after all. A complete 180 from how it looked not that long ago. Let me know your thoughts, and thank you for watching. Love you.